Welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen with Designs of Value Art, and today I'm going to show you the next project we're going to paint, but we're going to talk about the background and how I achieved this nice dark background. So this is the maple leaf that we're going to paint next, and the tracing is here, and there it is on my board. Just set that aside so I don't get it damaged. And this is a Arches 140-pound cold press paper that I taped to my board. And I really wanted that nice dark background that the leaf had. But if you've ever tried with watercolors to achieve a dark background, you know how difficult it is to do. So what I did is I went online and I ordered a Mars Black Dick Blick acrylic paint. It was like $6, nothing real extravagant, and I used that, and I'm going to show you some of the tricks of the trade and some of the products that you may want to consider by doing an acrylic background rather than a watercolor. I use for acrylics a paper palette, and I picked this right up at Hobby Lobby, so it's nothing major. This one's a 9x12. You can find these Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Dick's Blicks, whatever, but it's a waxy surface, and when you put your acrylics on it, you can, I just use a little plastic blending knife if I need to on this, but I'm going to put out a couple different colors. But I'm going to show you one other thing first before I do that. This has been dried for quite some time. I did have masking fluid on here, and I erased that. Look at how nice that just came off. Very easy to work with. And look at how easy the tape is coming up, and it's not removing any of the paper, and it's giving me a nice straight line with that background. So I'm just going to put that right back in space shape here where it's supposed to be. Set that out of the way because I don't want to get anything on it. This is the surface we're going to use, but I want to show you my palette, or my palette that I'm going to use for the acrylics. Now with acrylics, they're a lot different than oils. If you put out a lot, they're going to dry and you're not going to be able to use them again. Watercolors is so nice that way. You can just spray them and reuse them and continue until they're gone. This, once, whatever you put out, if you don't use it that day, it's gone because it dries and you can't use it. Now the yellow that I put out, this is actually a Cardinal acrylic. I bought a kit, I don't know, 6 months ago, thinking it was Cardinal oils, but it's actually Cardinal acrylics, so that's okay. And this one is primary yellow, and then I'm going to put out the sap green. It's a pretty dark sap green, but that's okay. I like a darker sap green. Not much on sap green to begin with, but it was the only green that came with the kit. There's many different types of acrylics that you can use. You just grab another example here. DecoArt Americana in acrylic paint. You can get the little jars if you want to. There's a new product on the market called Open, where it leaves the acrylics longer before they dry, and that is actually what's going to be happening with this product. This is DecoArt Traditions, and it's an extender and blending medium, and what this does is it allows your acrylics to blend together very nicely, especially on the textured watercolor paper. I use the cold press, and it there's going to be a couple different ways that you can use this extender. This is the one I liked the most. I tried about 3 different ones that I had sitting here. This one's very old. I don't know if they even make it anymore. DecoArt Canvas Gel. Didn't care for the way the acrylics handled with it. And then I also had the Golden Soft Gel Mat. And again, this is actually a matte acrylic medium. It doesn't say that it blends it together or extends the time that you can play with the acrylics, but I didn't care for the way it worked either. So at least I tried it, and I'm not going to recommend it to you. The other thing I'm going to use here is a little bowl to keep my extender medium in so it's not dripping all over my palette, because they put it on here and it's just going to run. And I don't necessarily want that, so I'll put that in my little bowl and set that aside right here where I can reach it. I'm going to set my palette up here where my normal palette is. Now there's a couple different ways that you can use that blending medium, and I'm going to show you the first one that I tried, and I'm just using a flat, I don't even know what size this is. It's a number 12 Royal, and I used it for acrylics. I painted in acrylics many years ago. It's been a long, long time, but I still had some of the brushes available that I use, like backgrounds or whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm applying the medium right to the paper. You can see this is a pretty textured paper. This is one that I just picked up at Walmart. Artist quality watercolor. I know it's not 100%. It's by B Products, B Inspired, and it's just a nice small size that I can try different things on. It's acid free, which is nice. But there's a lot of different products out there you can pick up right at Walmart, or Hobby Lobby's going to have their own product too. It's not a real expensive watercolor. You can try these different things on. So there, I just put down the blending and glazing medium, and I've still got some in my brush, which is just fine. And I'm going to just pick up my color. So I'm going to go into the green first. It lightens the color just a little bit, but you know what? That's okay. Doesn't bother me in the least. And then I'm going to go on the other corner of this rectangle and add in. I'm going to just leave a little bit of a ragged edge on both of these so it's easier to blend. Okay, so now I'm going to take my paper towel, and of course if I'm going to do an entire big background with this, I would use a much larger brush. I mean, you can go up to, I've got one sitting here that's huge. It's 1.5 inch, and this would be great for the backgrounds. Not a problem. So now I'm just going to go ahead. I wiped out, and I wiped it out this way. I did not go like this. I wiped it out this way to save my brush, because if you go like this to clean your paint off, you're going to ruin your brush. So just a little tip there. I'm going to just run this right down the middle between these two different greens that I have here. And now I'm going to wipe that color out of my brush, and I'm just doing it as if I were going to do it with oils. And I'm not going to clean it out yet because I want to keep some of that medium in there, and I don't care that there's some yellow in there, because that's what we're going to try to blend here. Is these, see, now it's not moving quite as much as I would like to see it move. In fact, it's not moving at all, actually. This side's a little bit better. I think I had more blending medium on that side than I did the other. And I can say that definitely because this color is much lighter than that one was. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. Personally, I don't care for that. It just seems to be not blending very well, and you're going to have problems with it. So I am cleaning out my brush now. grab one of my baby cloths here. Wipe out a lot of that moisture because I don't want to carry that moisture to the surface. So now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. Swap these two around. I'm going to take some of my blending medium. I'm going to add it right into my paint itself. And you don't necessarily need to use this much, but I want it to move pretty well. Now I don't want to use my brush to blend this in because it would be too much paint on the brush and you'd never get it cleaned out again. So I'm just going to use my little palette knife here and blend those together with the blending and glazing medium. Wipe off as much paint as I can. There we go. Wipe off my knife. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I think I'm going to pick up just a little bit more of the blending and glazing medium for the green. Yeah, I got some yellow on there, but not too bad. Sap's supposed to have yellow in it, right? All right, there we go. Get another. See, you know, it comes off pretty good. I'm not being real fussy about my palette knife, but that's okay. All right, so I got some blending and glazing medium on my brush. I'm going to pick up just a little bit more. And let's do the exact same thing here. I'm going to pick up the green. I blow both sides of my brush since it is flat. And now I'm going to wipe out my brush, just like that. Doesn't have to be spotless. You don't want to clean it out because you don't want to add water to what you're doing here. All right, so I just took off a lot of the extra of the yellow that I had on there. Let's go ahead and blend these as best we can. Boy, that green just doesn't want to move. It's really fussy. So I blended this side, but now if I flip my brush over and blend it this side, I'm not taking the green and putting it on top of the yellow. So it'll work a lot better. Okay, let's do that again over here. But you see how that's blending together? So if you're going to do a big background that's got a lot of green in it, but it's got splashes of yellow that you want to get in there too, this is the way I would recommend that you do it, is with your acrylics, because you could coat your background with a watercolor a long time to get that nice dark, like I did with the black. And if you're going to be doing black, I wouldn't recommend a watercolor anyway. There's ink products on the market that you can use. In fact, I think I might just have one right here. Yeah, this is a white India ink. You can get this in black. This is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay White India ink. That's a permanent product, so you want to be careful with that. But that's an option. So there's other options on the market. I enjoyed the acrylics since I was familiar with them, and I knew how to use them a little bit better than like a India ink. I've never really used other than to do a real small bright white highlight or something on that order. So that's what I wanted to tell you about today. Try out the acrylics. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money. You can use your masking pen, which is what I used on the leaf, so you can see how nice that worked. It did not have a lot of problems with it at all. It just really came right up when I wanted it to, and it didn't take off any of the acrylic paint. And I'll be honest with you, that's 1 coat of black acrylic paint. So just think of the amount of time that you're going to end up saving by doing the acrylic backgrounds rather than a watercolor. I tried to get a dark watercolor like this, and I must have coated it 10 times and never did get the nice dark background. This is a trick that I pulled from a video that I bought on eBay for a gentleman that does still lifes that's very well known, and I think his last name is Laurin, L-A-U-R-I-N. Unbelievably fabulous artist. He'll do a black background like this and some crystal on top of it, and it's absolutely stunning. So try this out, see if you like it. I'm going to have some more different colored backgrounds in the future on our new designs that we'll be doing, and you'll get to see me do those right on camera. I am on Patreon. You'll get to see those in full on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Colleen D. Aiken, A-K-I-N. Check me out, see if you like it. I only have 1 tier, and you can see absolutely everything that I put on there with that 1 monthly price. So enjoy. Thank you again. Have a lovely day.